Bang! What's popping, people? We're back again for another UFC breakdown. This time around, we got Yadong Song versus Chris Gutierrez. That shit's going off. That's a good fight. Main event. I was going to break down the full card, but I'm on holiday right now. I wasn't even going to come and do a breakdown, but I was chilling. I was watching PFL. I kind of got back into the MMA world, sucked back into the MMA world, and I was like, you know what? I should probably do a breakdown. I've been quite consistent with these, so I'm going to do a breakdown. Let me just bang this down a little bit. Yeah, I've been quite consistent with these, so I'm going to do a breakdown, but I'm not going to do a full card breakdown. It's going to take me too long. I'm going to do a main card breakdown for you guys. Sorry if you wanted to know about the prelims, but yeah, man, we'll get straight into it. Shout out to everybody who's here right now. I know I'm not very consistent with the times. You know, I do them on random days. Sometimes I do them fight day, the day before fight day. Random times could be 2 a.m. for you, could be 7 a.m. for you. I know all of these other podcasts, they come on at the same time, the same day, every single week. It's the same setup. Shout out to those guys. They keep to a strict setup. Well done to them. The way my life is set up, I travel a lot. I do a lot of things. I'm not extremely organized with that sort of stuff. I can't commit to 7 p.m. Thursday every single week of the fucking year. I can't commit to that, boys. I'm traveling too much. The life I live is not conducive to committing to the same time every single week. But I try to do these as I can for you, you know? So even when I wasn't really going to do it, I've still come on here and done it. Hopefully we can make some money this week. We've been doing amazing this year. It's been an amazing year. We've gone on a bit of a downtrend lately. Nothing crazy. I'm not losing 20, 30 units, but it's quite annoying because it's been an amazing year. And then towards the end of the year, I'd say the last 3 to 5 weeks, we've had a couple losing events, 3 units here, 4 units there. Then we win 5 units, then we lose 4 units. So it's kind of annoying because it's been such an amazing year. And it just so happens that the end of the year has gone down slightly. But man, I've been in this game for 15 years, boys. I've been gambling for 15 years. It really means nothing to me. You know, it's funny because the people that have been with me all year, they're fine. You know, they're super happy. They've had an amazing year. So they don't message me. Some of the people that have jumped on the train lately, they message me like, oh, damn, we lost today. I'm like, it's tough for me because I'm a seasoned gambler. Like, I understand people they haven't been in the game for long. So their mindset is not as solid as mine when it comes to winning and losing, because they get very happy when they win as well. I'm kind of neutral whether I win or lose. Obviously, I get happy and sad, but I'm a lot more neutral than the regular man. And then when I get messages like, oh, man, we've lost 3 units today, I'm like, yeah, bro, just message me in a year or 2. You know what I mean? But I do understand that people are not on the level I'm at in terms of the amount of time they've had in the game. So it's normal to feel these emotions, but it's very hard for me to relate to them. I do have a handicapping service. I sell my picks. I make people a lot of money. Lucrative MMA Betting.com if you want to make money with me. A hell of a lot of money with me, like we do every year, every single year. But I understand people are not, you know, so I kind of have to be like, what's the word? I have to be understanding to the people that are upset over wins and losses, but it's still super hard for me to relate to it. I can't relate to it since it's been so long since I felt like that. I guess I can relate to it because I put myself back in the mindset I was in 5-10 years ago. But yeah, man, it's been an amazing year. We're going to keep running it up. I feel like we've had really, really good bets recently, and some of them haven't gone our way. Ihor Peteria round 2 KO. Plus 1,600. 12 unit swing last week. The bet cashed, man. The bet cashed. In my eyes, that's a winning bet. What else did we have? Today we had Simeon Powell. I know he got caught, but guy was looking minus 400 and he gets caught at minus 140 or whatever we bet. Man, shit happens. It is what it is. Yeah, man, we're going to keep cashing. It's been an amazing year. And I really feel like the end of the year is going to be big for us. I've been saying that for a lot of time because I like the card. Next week, I'm going to have a lot of bets. This week, I've got not a lot of bets, but the bets I have, I really like. And yeah, man, if we just get the rub of the green a little bit, it could be a massive end to the year for us. So without further ado, I'll get straight into the card. Shout out to everyone here. We got Sean, we got Cage, we got Brandon, we got Sal, we got Esteban. Bang. Andre Muniz versus Jun Young Park. That is the first fight of the main card. And I actually like the underdog in this spot a little bit. I feel like the market is very heavily down on Andre Muniz. The reason for that is because of his last few losses. They've looked bad. Paul Craig was a bad look, almost a terrible look. He was a minus 200 favorite, and he gassed out very early in that fight. Actually, earlier than he's ever gassed out in any fight. And, got finished by Paul Craig. Paul Craig will do that every now and then. Paul Craig will just pull out a win that you don't expect him to do. And that was one of those fights. Then he just gets dominated by Allen. The next fight looks plus 1,000. So it's very hard to get a read on Paul Craig. He beat Ankalaev. He beat Jamal Hill. So the guy just gets some dodgy wins. So it wasn't a good look from Andre Muniz, but you also have to take into account that it was Paul Craig and just weird shit happens with that guy. If you look at the Jamal Hill fight or the Ankalaev fight, are you really going to hold that against him that they lost to Paul Craig? I know the losses were different fashions. They were kind of like flash losses, I like to call them. But I still believe that Paul Craig can do some weird things, and I don't hold it massively against Muniz that he lost to. Still not a good look, but maybe I hold it less of a bad thing in my mind than maybe some others would. And then obviously the Brendan Allen fight. I mean, yeah, Brendan Allen cleanly won the fight, but it wasn't like a massive domination. I bet on Brendan Allen in that spot at underdog odds, plus 160. Probably, I've had a lot, but that was, I'm going to say, one of the best cashes of the year. It was definitely a very good cash of the year at like underdog odds. I think, I think we got plus 180 or something. Plus 180. But Andre Muniz didn't really gas that bad until end of round 2, round 3. And I think it's because of the fashion he got finished. He got finished by a rear naked choke. Everyone thought he was a grappler. He was a great grappler. So I feel like that painted a worse light on the fight. He was still doing some decent work against Allen on the feet. So again, I feel like the market may be looking at that fight and looking at it a little bit more negatively than I am, especially on rewatch. And I was on Allen, right? So it's not like I rated Muniz massively highly before that fight. And then on the other hand, Jun Young Park, he's had some good fights lately, some good wins. He's very consistent. I just feel like stylistically, there's a few advantages that Muniz can take care of. I think he can get takedowns in this fight. I do believe that he can do that. He's got a very powerful double leg. We mustn't forget that. He shoots his double leg like he's shooting a rugby tackle. It's like a rugby takedown. Very powerful double leg, very athletic. So I do think he can hit that in this spot. I don't think Park's defense... Park gets taken down in every single fight I've ever seen. Ever. The guy gets taken down in every single fight. He stuffs takedowns in every single fight most of the time as well. But the guy gets taken down in every fight. So it's like, is he going to get taken down in this fight? Probably. He gets taken down in every fight. Andre Muniz can submit any man on this planet. Pause. So I do think that there's a big chance he gets a submission, or a good chance, say big, he gets a submission on on Park. And also, I've seen Park give up the back a couple of times, which is obviously not good against Andre Muniz. Andre Muniz can also be taken down himself, but get arm bars from guard. We've seen him work from guard many times. So I just believe that, I just think if you throw everything into the pot, as I like to say, I think there's a good chance that Muniz gets a submission in this spot. If he doesn't get a submission, yes, it's going to be very, very dangerous for him because obviously Jun Young Park has very good cardio. He's never going to stop. He's got multiple late finishes / late dominations. I remember he didn't finish Tafon in that fight, but he was beating the piss out of him in round 3. Obviously, Dennis Talulin, he managed to slice through him quickly. Gregory Rodriguez, it seemed like he was out cardioing him. He got finished himself. Marc-Andre Barrios was meant to be the power bar, and he was kind of, teeing off on him in round 3. So Park's going to keep pushing. Joseph Holmes, you ran through him. Like he's going to keep pushing. So if Muniz doesn't get him out of there, he's going to be spelling trouble in round 2 and round 3. But I do think there's a big chance that he gets a submission in round 1 or 2. And I also believe that there's a good chance that he gets the back in round 1 or 2 and doesn't die in round 3 and is able to get the points win. So I'm not going crazy and saying Muniz is a spot of the century, but I think that the market's probably low on him. The market's probably high on Park. And stylistically, there's a few advantages where Muniz can get his grappling going in this spot. So, yeah, I feel like I'm going to pick Muniz outright in this fight. And I agree with the line movement. The next fight is Nasrat Haqparast versus Jamie Mullarkey. So not a fight that I have much interest in terms of betting. But I do think Nasrat is the rightful favorite. But I also believe that you can't trust him at this line against almost anyone in the UFC. So I'm definitely not going to be betting him myself. And I don't really understand laying the price on Nasrat Haqparast in this spot. I do think he gets the win. I think his boxing is going to be too sharp for Jamie Mullarkey. I've seen Jamie Mullarkey get cracked one too many times in his career for my liking. Also, we're seeing the chin start to go a little bit in the Naimov fight. He got caught as well in the Johnson fight. That was a bit of a war. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I just believe that I'm looking at this fight a little bit subjectively as opposed to objectively because Jamie Mullarkey got cracked by Naimov recently and he didn't look good against Makdessi. I believe if you take away the Naimov and Makdessi fights, I believe I'm betting Jamie Mullarkey in this spot. So I think Nasrat Haqparast can get a KO, but I think I may be thinking that. Because Jamie got cracked bad by Naimov. It may be skewing my judgment a little bit. Maybe it's skewing my judgment in a positive way, and it just so happens that the Naimov fight showed that his chin's deteriorating, and now we see it again. So maybe I'm right. But it may also be that he just got cracked by a hard hitter, and maybe he doesn't get cracked in this fight, right? Maybe I'm just thinking he will because of the Naimov fight, and I'm actually wrong. So when I'm getting all of these questions in my head where I'm going back and forth, maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. Maybe I'm not looking at it objectively. Maybe I'm being biased. Maybe it's recency bias because of his last fight. Like when I'm having all of these questions back and forth, then what happens is I just usually pass, guys, because obviously I don't have a strong read on it. And if I don't have a strong read on it, why am I betting lines that are not massive? Yeah, I can bet a line at plus 250, plus 200 if my read isn't strong. But at minus 170, plus 150, if my read's not strong, I ain't getting meat on the bone either way. So a big pass fight for me. I'm going to go with Nasrat. I'm going to say he gets a KO because obviously Jamie's there to be hit. We've seen multiple times. But outside of the Nasrat KO, the fight should be close. And Nasrat can be taken down. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't rate Nasrat, and I don't really rate Jamie at this point in his career. So, I don't rate either of them. I don't want to be betting on a bad fighter to beat another bad fighter, or at least a quote-unquote fade fighter to be beating another fade fighter. At this point in time, guys, I'm looking to fade Jamie Mullarkey from what I've seen. I feel like he's on a downtrend. And I'm also looking to fade Nasrat Haqparast, like I did last time out with Landon Quinones at plus 400 or whatever it was. In my opinion, decent bet. So I ain't really looking to bet on a fade fighter. So I'm passing on this one. Next fight is Sumudaji versus Tim Elliott. Again, not a fight I'm looking to back. And the reason is because we're getting a very random version of this fight. I always like to bet on fights where we can see the fight for what it is, matchup versus matchup. There's no injuries we have to worry about. There's no pregnancies, cough, cough, Julia Avila, that we have to worry about. There's no layoffs that we have to worry about. Jitters, octagon jitters, UFC debuts. There's no camp troubles that we have to worry about. There's no short notice troubles that we have to worry about. These are the type of fights that I like to bet into. Sometimes the market forces my hand and I have to bet into the fights which I don't like betting on. That's gambling. That's adapting. That's life. Situations are not always perfect and what you want. But what is still true is that I don't like betting on these fights where there's lots of unknowns baked into the fight, because that just adds more inherent volatility. And as I always like to preach and rant, we don't like to bet on volatile fights unless they're giving us crazy lines, which help us play into the volatility, right? When you have a volatile fight, oftentimes you like to bet the plus money. You like to bet the underdog. Like I did a Carl Seaton versus Nate Kelly earlier today on PFL. I have absolutely no regrets on that bet whatsoever. I would make that bet 100 times out of 100 what we knew pre-fight. I don't give a shit that I lost, guys. I could not care less. I am very confident that plus 240 was an easy bet against Nate Kelly pre-fight, okay? From what we knew of the two fighters. I'm very, very confident in that. I have a very strict gambling ethos that I will stick to no matter what results I see. Sometimes I don't even care most times I don't even care what happens in the fight, because there's certain spots where there's no matter what happens in the fight, it couldn't have been known pre-fight, right? So the fight is just volatile, and I'm happy with my bet no matter what happens. If I bet on someone and he gets destroyed over 15 minutes or gets submitted in 1 second, sometimes I don't give a shit, because pre-fight we never knew that could happen, right? Or if we did know that could happen, then we also knew that it could completely go the other way. And what this whole long rant is about is that volatility in MMA can be your best friend or can work against you. And in this fight right here, Tim Elliott brings a lot of volatility into this spot. The reason is because he's coming in on massive short notice after a fight he had 5 weeks ago. So how do we know how he's going to perform at 37 years of age, 36 years of age, against the young, hungry, up-and-coming motherfucker like Sumu Daji, who is going to play ping-pong with his head, when he's coming in on 3 days' notice after fighting 5 weeks ago, to where he could have took some damage that we don't know about? Now, you could get these clever clogs saying, oh, it was a grappling fight against Mokaev, he didn't take no damage. I've listened to no podcast this week. I don't know if that's happened. I'm saying that. I'm sure people have been saying that, right? You don't know. What, you think that you can't get damage off wrestling? You get more damage off wrestling than you do striking. People don't know about MMA. People haven't trained MMA before. Maybe they don't know, right? Yeah, you get facial damage. Okay, you may have cuts and stuff that hasn't healed. Maybe your chin is a little bit bad if you took a concussion. But outside of that, the little niggles you're getting, that's from fucking grappling, man. The torn ACLs you're getting is, the ACL issues, the niggling elbow injuries where people are yanking on your arm and it doesn't feel right for days, so maybe you don't train as hard. You get put in an armbar, which I believe Elliott did get put in an armbar. It was a triangle armbar. I think it was one of them. Maybe not in that fight, I don't know, guys. But what I'm saying is when you're in a grappling fight and your neck's getting cranked on and shit doesn't feel right for weeks, and so then you don't train as hard over those weeks. So it's funny when I hear people say this, maybe not this week, specifically, but I do hear people saying that, oh, he didn't take any damage in that fight. He only got taken down a few times. Damage comes from takedowns and grappling. Big damage, and actually potentially worse damage. So, yes, maybe Elliott didn't get his head ping-ponged off his neck like he will in this fight, but I don't know if he was able to train as hard as he would be before. And did he even train? Because it was only 5 weeks ago. Massive, massive volatility in this fight, guys. Honestly, I'm close to playing the dog. I mean, I'd say I'm just going to pass probably, right? I started off the fight by saying no, I don't want to bet on this fight, but I'm seeing the line movement. Let me just have a look at the line movement now. It's if anything, I'd like to play Sumu Daji in this spot, right? Just because of the volatility is on Elliott's side. Su is training for a grappler. He knows that he's going to get grappled in the Allen fight. He knows he's going to get grappled in this fight. The striking difference is absolutely ridiculous. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Steve? Who's Steve? Don't know who the fuck Steve is. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sumudaji crack Elliott a couple of times. But I will also say that I've just seen plus 110, and there's no way I'm laying plus 110 on this fight because Tim Elliott has a massive grappling edge. Let's actually look at the fight from a different perspective and from a fair perspective. Tim Elliott has a massive grappling advantage in this fight. He could probably get takedowns for fun. He could probably get in dominant positions for fun. But Sumudaji doesn't have the worst of all time takedown defense. And Tim Elliott isn't that dangerous from top position at all in his entire career. The guy's an out-and-out wrestler. The guy's an awkward, dodgy, weird striker wrestler. He ain't a submission guy. So if he doesn't get a submission, I could easily see Sue getting 10-8s in round 2 and round 3. Even if he did get taken down in round 1, Tim's probably going to gas. Guys, I'm talking myself into a fucking Sumudaji bet, but I've just seen Bet365 has it in plus 110, and I can't lay that money with a plus 110 with a massive grappling edge. So I'm passing on this fight overall. If the line comes in a little bit, maybe I'll play Sumudaji. I'm picking Sumudaji for the win. I'm not betting on it. Anthony Smith versus Khalil Roundtree. Guys, another fight I am not betting on. This is a weird-ass fight to me. Don't ask me to break this one down, guys. Go and watch some other MMA gambler talk about this fight because this ain't my fight to talk about. On the one hand, I feel like Khalil is going to tee off on the boy. Yeah. Khalil is going to crack that leg, crack that body, bang Tao Khalil. You know what I'm saying? I know you don't train there, but like what I'm saying is Thailand ready Khalil. You know what I'm saying? He's going to come out. It's going to be Khalil Chai. It could be Khalil Chai out there. Round Chai. You know, we could be seeing Round Cow. You know what I'm saying? Rangati. We could be seeing Round Tang. The list goes on. We could see him tee off bad on Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith's aging. He's always been aging. He ain't getting no better. In my opinion, he's looked on a downtrend for a while now. He doesn't take damage that well. He's very tough. He doesn't get knocked out, but I don't think he takes damage well. The leg kicks are going to be there all day. Khalil ain't this massive leg kick guy, but we've seen it in his career that he will throw leg kicks. So it's like, on the one hand, I see that playing out. On the other hand, Khalil's a mad head case, you know? Like, Khalil is not all there. Like, he's already spoke about depression and stuff. Sometimes he shows up a shell of himself. Sometimes he gasses bad. Other times he, doesn't gas too bad in the Jacoby fight. Then the Praknial fight, he's gasping for air after 5 minutes. It's just a weird guy to bet on, right? And also, he's a big favorite. So I can see this fight going a multitude of ways. I'm pretty sure Khalil's going to have a good first couple minutes or at least a good first round. But then I think as the fight gets into round 2 or round 3, Anthony Smith could get the timing. He could out-veteran him. Maybe he shoots a couple takedowns. Roundtree, if that guy gets taken down, I don't trust him to do much from guard. What's he going to do? Is he throwing up triangles and sweeping Anthony Smith? I don't think so. Smith's probably going to elbow him to fuck if he gets on top. But Smith don't shoot takedowns these days, really. This fight is a massive stay away, guys. If anything, you just played a plus 190 on Smith just because Roundtree's a bit of a madman and Smith's a veteran and he's been fighting way bigger guys, more dangerous than Roundtree, as funny as that seems. If anything, you steer into the volatility with the plus money underdog, like I said on the last fight. But Khalil's got a good chance for the KO here. I'm passing on the fight, man. I don't need to invest my money on either of these two guys. If I said to you, who is 2 people you don't want to invest your money in the current light heavyweight division? Khalil Roundtree should be fairly high and Anthony Smith should be fairly high. So they're fighting each other, right? So that means that I'm going to save my money and I'm going to spend my money on something that's going to give me a higher ROI, like a cup of coffee or maybe Yadong Song. Yadong Song's taking on Chris Gutierrez, and I don't have a hot take here, guys. Yadong Song's minus 400. I think he probably gets the KO. It's funny to say that because you don't KO Chris Gutierrez. But, I mean, the only losses he's ever had inside the distance is by rear naked choke, Brony Barcelos. I remember that fight. I'm looking at it now. Barcelos just put a lot of pressure on him there, found his way to the back. I believe it was standing, if I remember rightly. Maybe it finished on the ground, but pretty sure the standing one was against Said Nurmagomedov in the third round. Yeah, anyway. You don't really knock this guy out, right? But I just think Yadong Song's going to do it. I feel like, I mean, if we actually go back, Yadong Song is a special talent in terms of the pocket boxing, right? Has Chris Gutierrez ever fought anyone with the pocket boxing of Yadong Song? Barcelos hits hard. He finished him. He did finish him. He's the only guy to finish him. And he's got good pocket boxing. Pedro Munhoz ain't got good pocket boxing. I know people will say that. He ain't got it. Frank Yeager has decent pocket boxing. But, I mean, come on, man. The guy was a corpse at that point. Got flying knee. I mean, it wasn't a flying knee. He was standing knee KO'd. So, I just don't think he's ever fought anyone with this firepower, with this hardware, with this durability, as my man Z's MMA, the Ghost, would say. So, I do think Yadong Song's going to catch a KO at some point. But I'm not surprised if it takes him 2 or 3 rounds to get going, just because Chris Gutierrez has got good footwork. We know that. And, you know, in the Kyler Phillips fight, Yadong Song fought someone who had good footwork. And in the Corey Sandhagen fight, it was very hard for Yadong Song to catch a beat on him. Now, he did well in the Sandhagen fight, not so much in the Kyler Phillips fight. But what I'm trying to say is he has had trouble before with good footwork, guys, you know. So Chris Gutierrez has decent footwork. I don't think he has as good footwork as either of those guys, to be honest. But I do think it's decent. So, yeah, man. There might be a chance where he wins round 1 or 2 or something. But I do think sooner rather than later, Yadong Song's going to catch him. I don't think this one goes 5 rounds. I'd be very surprised if it's the scorecards, to be honest. If it's the scorecards, I feel like you need to be betting on Chris Gutierrez. Because if it hits the scorecards, it means that Yadong Song wasn't really able to catch him enough times in the fight, you know, to corner him up against the cage. And if that's the case, the leg kicks are probably going to be coming in through all 5 rounds. So I wouldn't mind a play on Chris Gutierrez points. I might play Yadong Song submission just to go against the grain of the KO, because I do feel like Chris Gutierrez has good head striking defense. He has good footwork. And it might be a case where the club and sub come. It seems like a bit of a weasel, you know. So it may be the case where, you know, I've seen people on his back before. I remember Cody Durden. Shout out to Cody Durden. I bet on him at plus 200 in his debut, plus 250, I believe it was, against Chris Gutierrez when nobody knew who the fuck Cody Durden was. Good account of himself there. I mean, it was a clear draw, but, or to be honest, maybe 29-28 Chris Gutierrez. It was a draw. I got my money back. But we saw Cody Durden get straight to the back. And we also saw Hayoni get to the back. I wouldn't be surprised if going against the grain, shit happens in MMA, man. And Yadong Song submission's like 15, 1600 or something. So if I'm thinking Yadong's going to finish him, then maybe just take the swing on a 1600, especially since he's never been knocked out. And he's only ever been submitted. So anyway, that's a bit of more of a flyer playing into the MMA volatility / historics of Chris Gutierrez rather than a stylistic, I think he's going to take him down and get the back methodical submission. But we don't always have to play the game methodically. Sometimes one of the best ways to play the game is not methodically, and it is volatile. Play the game volatilely. Jamie, pull that up. Is that a word? Volatilely. Definitely not, by the way. But maybe there's another way of saying it. So maybe I chuck a little half a unit on that, quarter of a unit on that, whatever we want to do. But yeah, man, that's it. That's the breakdown. I think Yadong Song's going to finish him probably by KO, but maybe I bet the sub. That's it, guys. I broke down the entire main card. Ain't going to give you any more because I got other things to attend to. I would say my apologies, but not really. I'm getting this out anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed it. And I'm going to address some of the comments. If we got any comments, please send me some messages. Say hello. I'll stay here for another 5 minutes and answer any questions you have. And then I'm going to dust out, brother. What are we saying here? So we got Elliot got slam KO'd. Yeah, man. Exactly. So like even if the NPCs want to say like, oh, it was a grappling fight, there's your non-grappling. No way to not get hurt grappling. Too many joints. Exactly. Big Steve knows that. Big Steve's a grappler. Guy gets smashed in training all the time. So he knows too well about getting hurt in grappling. Under 2.5 in what, brother? Sorry, that's long gone now. What else we got? Buddies on the beach. Yeah, not right on the beach, bro. We're overlooking the beach. You know, back in the day, boys, we used to be on the beach. Now we're on the mountains overlooking the beach. Overlooking all the... I won't say it. We'll keep it PG. Capping service. What do you think about the unders in the Mukherjee-Elliott fight? I just feel like it could be very frustrating if it turns out that Elliott is the side at chalk and then he's just grappling him and he ain't getting no submissions. What have we seen from Sumudaji that looks bad on the ground? We've seen the Schnell fight, and then which was kind of bad because Schnell was done. And then we saw that fight. What was that fight before? I literally watched it the other day. I think it was a couple fights before the Gordon. It was like his debut. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Sumudaji's debut where he got ran through. I'm forgetting the guy's name. I'm literally remembering everything, how he looks. Hate when that happens. But anyway, so yes, we've seen some bad stuff on the ground from him, but Elliott just ain't that type of grappler, man. Yes, Smolka, Louis Smolka, there you go. Elliott ain't that type of grappler, man. I just don't like betting on, I mean, depends if I think someone's super potent, but I don't like betting on unders if one fighter only has is holding the majority of the path to victory for the under, especially when the fighter who probably won't finish is favorite. You know, so you can say that if minus 150 or so Elliott is correct, then the under at evens is not really correct, in my opinion. I do lean under overall, though, because I probably lean Mukherjee and falling into that. But then also Elliott, the guy don't really get KO'd ever, man. He got KO'd by Askar Askarov. Real ones know that. Cashed on Askarov minus 125 there. Seems kind of crazy because he's never grappling Askarov and the striking difference is hilarious. But anyway, could have been Askarov's debut or something. It was after the Moreno fight, actually. So it's like, yeah, man. Like, you know how it goes. And you're saying Mukherjee has been subbed in all of his losses. It doesn't mean he's getting subbed here. You know what I mean? It's like, you can go through many angles with that. So you can go through one angle, like the guy loves to get finished in his losses. You know, he's going to get finished. But then you go the other angle where it's like, there's been many times where I've been like, oh, the guy gets finished all the time. And then he just doesn't get finished. This one time. He's going against a non-finisher, in my opinion. Elliott is a non-finisher. I do lean under, though. Right? So I do lean that. But I wouldn't play it. So I think it hits. Like, I'm saying that it's going to hit. But me personally, I wouldn't put my money in that position. So there you go. It's crazy that people were picking Montel Jackson to beat Gutierrez, but now saying he'll upset. Where I'm at right now, this is an undisclosed location on top of the mountain. Looking at beautiful view out here, boys, man. Beautiful view out here. You know, it's crazy that I can now sit in places like this and earn a living. I was watching PFL today, and I actually lost some 3 units on PFL. If I would have won on PFL, I would have paid for this entire place with the amount of money I had risked over multiple sports books. So it's mad, man, because I used to sit in the bookies and be underage and place £10 bets. You know, I was looking at some of my bet slips earlier. Let me see if I can chuck it up, man. Bro, I've got bets from 2016. If I can chuck this up, it'll be a mad one. But I got bets from 2016, guys, yeah, that I'm placing for £10. And now, you know, I'm making $20,000, $30,000 bets. Those are my big ones. You know, I don't do them every week, but when I'm confident, it's just mad to see. So look at this. I don't know if you can see this, guys. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. So we got Dominic Cruz on points. I bet on that. A double, one prop, and one money line. I got Cruz to beat Faber on points. Done, no. And then I got Brian Ortega, sharp, to beat Clay Guida. Boys, that's only like minus 210. That's sharp, you know. So the Brian Ortega bet minus 210 and Cruz on points. Maybe that's a little bit square, but bro, they give me like minus 150 on that. And look at that, boys. 3rd of June, 2016. £31 the stake. The stake was £31. You're like $50, $40. I would never dream of betting that amount of money now. Mad. And look at this one. This is an even better one. I must have liked Dominic Cruz by points back in the day because, again, 2016, Dominic Cruz by points against TJ Dillashaw. That was a square bet. But actually, you know what? Not that bad, you know. They gave me 5-2 odds, which basically, boys, is like plus 210 or something. I'm not good at doing the English conversions. I ain't lived there in 6 years, but about plus 210 or something like that. And then also I had Travis Brown by KO against Matt Mitrione, which cashed. And that was kind of shit. They only gave me like minus 125 for that. And look at the stake on that one, boys. There's a double. I must have loved doubles back in the day. 2 props in a double, and the stake on that was £10. £10, boys. If I was betting on that now, that's a £1,000 bet for me. $1,000 or something like that. You know, minimum. That's on one book. Probably bang another 1,000 on a couple of other books as well. That returns £60. Solid ROI. So yeah, man, it's just crazy. It's just a trip. It's been a long grind to get here, but man, I'm happy I can do it. What else we got? Love your work, mate. Cheers. Appreciate that, brother. Yudong Song, great safe parlay piece. I believe so. I believe so, man. Maybe he gets leg kicks for 5 rounds. I really do think he's going to catch him. Do I like Costa against Bus? Yeah, I do think he wins. I don't like the minus 240 in the new matchup, especially after just more volatility 1 week. Like, I know Garcia pulled out, so probably the volatility is in the Costa favor. It's still more volatility at massive chalk, so I'm not betting him, but I bet him last time at like minus 190 or something like that. But now he's like minus 240 or something, so I ain't getting involved. Malcolm Gordon. No, he smashed Malcolm Gordon. Mudaji's been sub. Yeah. Tyson Dickinson saying Lucrative is the best. All right, man. Thank you, brother. Well, that's it. I'm out now. I'm going to go and jump in the pool. And yeah, enjoy the rest of my day. Hopefully everyone enjoys the rest of their day. If you want to sign up with me and get your space locked in before next year, you can go to lucrativemmabetting.com. And we have some events left. We have big event tomorrow and a massive event, UFC 296 next week. So I'm going to have loads of bets next week, guys. If you want to get your bets locked in early because the lines are definitely going to move, then definitely go to lucrativemmabetting.com and sign up with me. If not, man, I'll probably be back with another stream at some point. But yeah, shout out to everyone, man. Sal's saying I love Cruz on points. That was the spot, bro. Cruz on points. I smashed that for a good few years, man. You know, he's the man, Cruz. Shout out to Cruz. Have a good one. Let's crush UFC tomorrow. Shout out to everyone. Good luck on your bets. Let's go.